What's going on, everyone? Let me know how my audio is as usual. If it's great, that's my fault. If it's horrible, it's your fault. All right. Sorry about the earlier time. It's a crazy day, but I didn't want to miss the stream. Or let me know if this time is better for you guys. If you want to go earlier, we can think about going earlier. I mean, I don't know. Where are my buttons? Okay. Sorry, if you can't tell, I crash landed in here and just hit go. But isn't that like how we do everything? Is that not how we do everything? If you guys are ready to get into this, I want you to type ready. Let me know where you're from and let me know what you shoot. Not shoot with, I want to know what you shoot. Okay, guys? Daniel had a great line about that on one of his podcasts a long time ago. He's like, I hope when we ask someone what you shoot, they start talking about the things they shoot instead of what they shoot with. And I thought that was such a great line because we got so consumed about the gear. Hey, there we go. All right. We get so consumed about the gear, but we forget about, you know, what we do with the gear, right? What's going on, Edgar? Sith Lord. I don't think I've seen you in a while. Sean Vine, how are you? Been a minute. So Joe likes earlier. Well, you guys that are in the chat are going to say you like earlier because you're here earlier. Thing is, we got people from all different time zones, and I can never hit the right time for anybody. So it is what it is. The one thing I don't want to do is make this a 5 p.m. stream because then we conflict with maybe we want to have like an evening class or something like that. I don't want to do that. I kind of wanted to make this a different time slot for those that can't make the 5 p.m.s live. Maybe this would help. I don't know. Okay. Insert clever name here. That is a very clever name. You shoot barrel races and equestrian portraits. That's awesome. So do you shoot the riders with their horses, or is an equestrian portrait more like a portrait of the horse itself? I'm sure it's both, but like, what would you consider an equestrian portrait? Is it the human or is it the horse? Let me know. I gotta hear this. Camera's a bit out of focus. It's out of focus because I touched the screen like a mook. How's that? Better? Sharper? Faster? I got to shut off the touch autofocus on these things because I'm setting up so fast. This is what happens to Daniel with his cameras. His nose touches the screen before he shoots. So the autofocus point goes where his nose touched. And then everyone goes, you're out of focus. Also, us old schoolers touch our screen and don't realize sometimes we're moving an autofocus point. Just happens, all right, guys? Okay, so I got some crazy stuff to do today, so I couldn't let this go on at noon. So again, I appreciate you guys. The projector isn't even on. I'm not kidding you. I crash landed here, guys. Crash landed. Whew. First of all, if you're around Tuesday, 5 p.m., Deborah Gilbert's going to be here. She's going to be talking about how to build a co-op, which is basically like networking as a photographer, and also getting your work exhibited, meaning like the gallery circuit kind of a deal. And you know, if you're less commercial, more fine art, you're going to want to check that one out. That's tomorrow. I believe it's tomorrow. Should be tomorrow. Let me triple check tomorrow. That would be a good idea, Seth. That is August 5th, 5 to 6. The live stream link is going to be up soon. I think something had to get corrected on it, so they had to rework it. But 5 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time. If you're in the fine art world, make sure you come back to this channel. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I'm not expecting this to be a really packed chat room today because we're not doing the normal time. But I got Quinn with me today. You guys are very rude not saying hello to Quinn. I don't know what your problems are, but that's it. That's what goes on there. Riders and their horses. Okay, that's cool. I can't say I've shot equestrian. I'll say that. Is a centaur a human portrait or an equestrian? Bobby Z over here. Bobby Z. I'm sure that's a whole world to itself, equestrian. I mean, you're talking about the people that go there, the people that sponsor the horses, the riders, the people that take care of the horses. I'm sure there's a whole culture to it, just like the F1 racing or anything else, right? So I did have one question that kind of was submitted illegally, I'll just say, but it is an interesting one because I think it's probably something a lot of people are dealing with. So absorb this if you will. And then I think we're going to try something out today because I said I was going to do it a couple weeks ago and I didn't. So someone online is saying, I hope you're in this chat, by the way. Someone online is saying that they have some lower cost lighting and they got a color calibration system for their monitors. And they are now realizing that their strobes don't match, meaning color-wise. And they're trying to chase it with gels. From what I understand, they're trying to, I'm a little overwhelmed trying to know what to do with corrective gels to get them more consistent. Any help getting started would be great. And then, yeah, so basically, if you have strobes, right, let's say any strobe system, right, you want, the thing about photography is you want the most consistency you can get because everything else is a variable and a wild card. And the last thing you need is the light you're shooting to shift in color, to shift in temperature, to shift in exposure. Whatever you shoot, you want, whatever you're shooting at, you want to stay consistent because then whatever is changed, you made the change, meaning what modifier, what power, what distance, all that stuff. You made that change, but the light should stay consistent. Now, one of the trade-offs in lower cost lighting, and there's always going to be a trade-off, right? If higher performing gear, well, the trade-off is more money, right? And sometimes less features, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole I'm not going to go down. But lower cost lighting, there could, and this is not brand specific. I'm not calling out any brands, but you could deal with units like a speed light from the system and a studio strobe from the system not matching in color. And so if you're using the studio strobe as your key light and you're using, say, the speed light as your fill, you might notice that the fill light in your shadows is maybe colder, maybe greener. And then you go, well, how do I get them to match? And that is such a rat race to figure out because it's subjective to a lot of things. One, what system and how consistent is that system? Because there are some that are like no name, zero name that you get from a website that sounds like a jungle where you guys should be shopping at places that support this industry a little better, just saying. That even if you get 3 of the same light from that same manufacturer, they might all shoot differently because they were just assembling with whatever parts they could find, whatever tubes they got at that batch, whatever coatings they put on that tube. There's no, the quality control goes down when there isn't the R&D put into it, right? So then the question becomes, well, how do I get those to match? The only thing you can do is basically get yourself a pack of correction gels. Actually, do we have them? I'll see if I can get one of my guys to get me a pack of them. And then you're going to have to shoot and test by density. And what I mean by density is I should really have do I have a correction gel pack here? Sorry, I just saw this question as I was getting live, so let me see if I have everybody with me? This chat just froze. I hope you guys are with me. This is not a correction set. Is this a correction set? Sort of. This is a Cinegel kit. So, okay, we'll use this. We'll use this. Let me see. What is this? And this is another one. These are 3 of the same kits? Come on. Who's running this outfit? Okay. So let's say, you guys with me? Did I lose the chat? Am I live? Let me know if I'm live, guys, please. It looks like, am I live? Shoot. I know I'm on a delay, but you guys got to talk to me here. This is not the right gel pack. There's no way this is the right gel pack. This is what happens when 16 people use the same setup in space and we go, nah. Okay, I'll work with this, okay? So here's the variables you're going to run into that I'm not going to be able to help you with. You're going to have to do it yourself, okay? So these are densities of gels. These are quarters, right? So this is quarter, this is half, this is full. Let me see if I can kind of give you guys a little bit of a better example here. Okay. So do you guys see the density levels? This is quarter. This is half, this is full CTO. So now let's say you have a light that's shooting colder, bluer, right? Because there's a difference between cold and blue, but for the most part, when we talk about strobes, it's usually about a temperature, right? So what you're gonna wanna do is get yourself either 1/8 or quarter and then keep adding a layer and shooting till you shoot on a color checker to a point where you feel you are getting a neutral strobe, okay? The problem you're gonna run into is the power you're pushing through that strobe could change how much this gel is affecting your light. Over time, these could wear out and get less and less dense. You could have a few strobes that, even if they're in the same system, shoot differently, and you're gonna have to gel them differently. But this is what you chase. So instead of spending, you know, $1,000 on a light and you're spending $200, well, you might be spending another like 60 bucks in gels to get yourself to a place, and that's still considerably less money. It keeps you shooting, but this is only if you care that much about accuracy. And if you do, that's when we have a discussion about, well, is it an investment for you now to get more accurate strobes? And you can get accurate strobes just staying away from very, very no-name brands, from places, you know, retailers that sound like a jungle as a brand name. I'm just saying, Joe knows what I'm talking about. I'm seeing him nod his head, yep. So it's not just gonna be CTO and CTB, meaning the other way, if it shoots warmer, you can get blue gels here, right? You got magenta green. So you're gonna look at minus green gels and tough green gels. Those, if you're dealing with magenta and green gels on a strobe, consider that system, consider moving on from that system. I would be way more comfortable with a strobe system that's warmer or cooler than one that's shifting magenta or green. You might be running into more and more inconsistencies going on down the line. And don't forget, if you're shooting, let's say you got your light corrected. Then let's say you're doing a shoot and you put on a softbox that shoots warmer. Guess what? That light goes warmer, just like as if I put it on this Pro Photo Strobe, it would shoot warmer. So you have to keep that into consideration as well. But you want your raw strobe to be as neutral, daylight balanced as possible, because from there the variables can come in. But you don't want the variable to start at the source. That's where we don't play games, okay? You got Roscoe and you got Lee as far as the industry standard for gels. You can't go wrong either way, you know? If you want, you can get yourself, hey Joe, do we have just a straight up correction gel pack? Not the Cine sampler, but the correction gels. You guys can get a correction gel pack and start there. And don't forget, if this is the size of the gel and you only need to cover this much, you can cut the gel and double it up with the same gel. So you don't have to get like multiple packs if you don't need, but just remember, this is surface area. The other thing you got to remember is if it's touching your strobe the entire time, there's more of a chance that you will fade that gel over time because you're putting heat and basically a light through it constantly. And over time, it will fade a little bit, all right? Hey, Johnny. We had a question today so far about how do I get my lights to match each other if they don't match, basically. But I guess my argument is, if you guys are looking at budget lighting systems, that's fine, as long as you're shooting. But if you're getting to a place where you're really worried about color accuracy, not just creative, not just shooting, but you really need color accuracy, meaning you're shooting commercial jobs, you're shooting product that needs to match what it is in real life. You're worried about skin tones to a specific level. This might be where you start looking at, is this an investment to go forward? And this is why there's levels to equipment. You know, no problem, Steven. I didn't know if you wanted me to call you out or not, but it is something that I get asked a lot. And it's something that, I don't know if you heard me before, but if you're spending $200 versus $1,000 on a strobe, if you need, you know, 60 to 100 bucks in gels to keep it all, you know, corrected and chase it a little bit for color accuracy, you're still well under what you would have spent on a higher end strobe. However, there will always be a chance of inaccuracy. There will always be. Your gel, every time you go higher power on a strobe, you are less saturating the light with the gel. And if it's a correction gel itself, you have to keep in mind that you're playing a balancing point. If I put like a purple gel on this and all I want is purple, who cares what the saturation is, because I'm looking at it for how much purple I want, right? As long as I'm not blowing through that gel and getting white light out of my strobe, even though it's gelled, you're kind of just playing games with creative. But if you're trying to balance, like really, really balance lights to be consistent across the board with multiple units, you're gonna be very conscious of how much power you're throwing through that strobe. So one mistake I saw someone make, which was really kind of interesting to see, the guy got his lights balanced with a stack of gels across his system. I think it was 3 lights. And he did it all at full power, which in your mind goes, well, if I do it at full power, every power underneath that will never be undersaturated. But you know what it will be? Oversaturated, right? So it's like, well, what power point do you start of your strobe to start balancing? And that's another variable, right? So what I usually tell people is, if you were doing a controlled setup normally and you stay within a power range of maybe like half or a quarter, maybe that's where you do your balancing. Wherever you're going to be shooting in, meaning light power wise, maybe that's where you balance. Or what one psychopath did that I worked for back in the early 2000s, I'll just say, what this psychopath did was he built gel kits for every power on every light and marked them. That's what we have? I didn't even know we had lead kits. Oh, and they come in a plastic kit, not a cardboard. That's interesting. How much are these, do you know? 50? Okay. So for 50 bucks, you get leaf filters, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You get 12 gels in here, 2 of every density. So you get full CTO 3/4, which is my personal favorite. And the reason I like 3/4 is because most soft boxes are a little warm. So I gain the extra quarter from the soft box. Does that make sense? So 3/4 at the light, and then the diffusion on the soft box I'm using warms it up just a little bit more, and it gets me closer to a full CTO. Whereas if I put a full CTO in this and a soft box, it's warmer than full CTO, you know? Okay, could we get a workshop someday on focus stacking? I'll tell you right now, that is... The focus stacking is kind of... You're gonna hate this answer. The focus stacking is kind of brand specific with the way they do it and how they do it. There are some similarities, like just doing the stacking and then the post-processing, sort of. The workshop on that would be boring as hell. We've done macro demos and we thought they were amazing and they did horribly. I understand what you're saying. I tell you what I can do is I'll see if I can figure out a way to make it like a little more dynamic. And I'll also see if I can find you a colleague that has a really good video on it. Is that fair, Known Studio? Tony's saying Josh Torrey was amazing. Thanks, man. Josh is awesome. That video could use a bunch of views, so please share it around. I think he had such entertaining and insightful takes on the industry, being a 3-time Emmy-winning special effects artist. So if you want, please share that around with some friends that you think should know about this. And all this color actually with the lights is immediately negated by not having a well-calibrated monitor. That is not true. Why is that not true? And I'm sure someone's going to yell at me about this. The reason it's not true is nobody's looking at the same monitor. So if you're shooting in white light and you're shooting balanced in camera, right? Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean you're correcting while you're shooting? That I'll give you. You want to shoot with the corrected monitor. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like after you've done everything after the fact. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Sorry about that. You're right. If you are shooting and then trying to get a balance in you want to have a balance in like your tether, you're going to want to be calibrated. But don't forget, you have histograms, RGB channel histograms. If you want, Gary Hughes on his channel has a brilliant video on how to get his exposure and color mathematically in line, that no matter what it looks like on the monitor, the data there makes it accurate, right? So check out Gary Hughes' channel if you get a chance. And Gary, if you're in the chat, That was an awesome video. I send that video to people all the time. Really, really good. Actually, can I find it right now? I'll just throw it in the chat. Let me see if I can find it right now, guys. Gary Hughes. Anyway, does this all make sense? Does anybody have any questions about this? I think color accuracy is one of those things that if you're getting to that point, you're getting a little more serious than you think. And I think you have to start. Oh, here we go. Cool. Great. This video is phenomenal. And I'm going to put it in the chat and you guys should all bookmark it or whatever. All right. Make sure you check that out. Gary Hughes is awesome. One of the best educators in this industry, without a doubt. And just a solid human being. And a good photographer. And why am I getting these texts now? Okay, hang on. What's going on here? Where am I? Okay, 10:20. All right. So anyway, was that clear enough? Right? So a $50 pack of gels, and then you might go crazy and you might do your light at every stop of power and cut yourself gels. If you need super accuracy, if you go, I need it within a ballpark, you can leave like one of your stacks on there that's kind of in the middle of the range and go, yeah, it's close enough. You know, I think one of the biggest problems you have with balancing lights are when people throw in speed lights, because speed lights in systems usually don't match their studio strobes. Speed lights are normally a bluer tone light. And that's why when you go into your digital camera and you put on flash white balance, it goes warmy-ish yellow. It's not even just warm, it's like yellowy, because they're counteracting the blue in a speed light. Does that make sense for you guys? Okay. Josh Turi is an audio compressor's worst nightmare. Let me tell you something. I would rather have a loud, explosive guest than a boring one. I'll tell you that right now. I knew he would be exhausting. How's this? I haven't seen Josh in 10 years. That was the first time I saw him in a decade. He's been so busy. Me and him need to collaborate and shoot again. That Popeye makeup that we shot was like 1 in a million, I'll tell you. That was a very cool moment in my career. That was a very cool moment in my life. Like being on that set is very cool. Very, very cool. Any news on the thing you might have on the works? This is why I'm streaming live. I'll just say early. I'll just say that. Tell you what, stay up on my IG stories. I'll see what I can post later tonight. I'm not sure what I can share yet, but thank you. All right. Question, not related, but my daughter wants to get into special effects makeup. Any tips on where she should start? Yeah, go start. I'm sure she's messing around as it is, but make sure she's looking at tutorials from credible artists and look at some schools. There are some really, really good schools that if she goes through their programs, she can then apply to work in a shop like Josh Turi's shop. If you're going raw at that, it's very hard to get considered to work in a shop environment where everything is going to be costing money, as time is money, materials are money. They want to know that you're trained to some degree. So look at some schools. I spent 15 years shooting for Mud Makeup Designery. I think they're only in LA now, I believe. I'm not sure. Been a minute. There's a lot of makeup schools on the West Coast. There's Savini School in, I want to say Pittsburgh, but do some research on that and you got to just keep making. Oh, Gary Hughes in the chat. Gary just shared your video and talked a bunch of trash about you. All right. Seth, would there be any issues with the color quality of an A10 with the Fresnel and the A2 with a frosted lens? So in my opinion, I haven't seen too detrimental of a color shift, but you will see a difference in the quality of light. The frosted lens on an A2 does not shoot like an A10. If you're sensitive to the way the spread of light looks, the Fresnel lens on an A10 is definitely harder, cuts, is way less diffused. The frosted lens on an A2, when you mix it with a studio strobe, will hit like that studio strobe, meaning it's hitting like that dense frosted glass look where it's broken, diffused, it's scattering, you know? If you're looking for more of a directional hard light, the A10 gives you that, you know? And if you notice, I've been leaning way more on A2s than I have A10s, and that's because I keep on mixing the strobes together, and I might as well just keep apples and apples together. Also, the A2 is just easier to carry around. If I don't need to put it on my camera, why am I shooting 12 speed lights anymore, you know? When I was all speed lights, that was during an era where that's all there was. There was none of these micro soda can lights that we have now. You guys have it way too easy. You know that? Way too easy. My dogs don't care that I'm busy watching you right now. They're used to 7:30 a.m. walks, so we're taking the stream for a walk. Can I just say, like, what an amazing world we live in? So SummerSlam was this weekend, right? When I was a kid, you used to chase anywhere in the city that was playing a pay-per-view that you could sneak into. Some bar. I remember people were pushing their TVs to the window and having block parties. I remember rooftop projectors, and I think that's still a thing. Now, I'm walking around with it on my phone. Anywhere I go, I'm just watching it. You people have it too easy. You kids today have no idea what it was like to almost commit misdemeanors to watch a pay-per-view. You have no idea. These kids today. Oh, my automatic light and my mirrorless camera that shows my photo before I shoot it. Cry harder. All right. We used to have to shoot slide film, and if we were off by half a stop, the job was toast. Does that answer the correction gel thing? I feel like you have no idea how much of a rabbit hole that turns into, but it also is only as deep as you want it to be. How much you care about color accuracy. To me, color accuracy is huge. What I'm seeing, what I'm shooting, what I'm documenting in a commercial setting, client needs to see that. We're not talking about pleasing color here. We're talking about accuracy, Pantone colors, especially if you're shooting makeup, especially if you're shooting product. You know what I mean? If you shoot a product and the color doesn't match what people are buying, they don't want to deal with a bunch of returns coming back because that red was way less red when they got it. You don't want to deal with. And in fact, your client probably wouldn't even accept it depending on their status as a brand, you know? What's your thoughts on Brock Lesnar returning? This is not turning into a pro wrestling stream. We are not doing this, guys. This is staying photo nerd related, okay? I'm down to talk nerd stuff, but come on, guys. Brock Lesnar, I think, is an exciting twist. Legally, I don't know what's going on. Real world issues, I don't know what's going on. I'll just say, but as a fan or like just storyline related, there's so many options for him. And if that is John Cena's final feud, I think it's a good feud. Me and Wes here at Adorama agree. Thank you for now. Ballpark is good. I'm a hobbyist, but I love learning. Yeah, that's the thing. How much do you care? If you're getting this crazy about color accuracy, think about why you're getting crazy about it. Think about how deep you're getting crazy about it, and think about when it's time to invest in not having the issues like chasing gel stacking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, the day you have gear that you don't worry about, you start realizing how good you could have had it and how much more you're able to just focus on shooting. How much you're just able to get to. And I'm not talking about like, hey, I use this manual focus lens and it's not letting me think about what I'm shooting. No, sometimes a manual focus lens slows you down. You think different, you shoot different. But having lights that are shifting color on you is just a problem because you can't balance an entire image after the fact when two lights at the same frame aren't matching. If it's all the same light and you want to balance it after the fact, couple of clicks on a slider, right? Not a big deal. But when you have three lights that are all changing colors on you out of nowhere, and you have half the face blending into the other half of the face being a warmer skin tone, or magenta or green, you're talking about a nightmare you don't want to go anywhere near. Trust me. All right, Gary, ask me anything about wrestling. Let's go. What do you want to do, man? I just gave you a massive shout out, and I hope you guys subscribe to Gary's channel. In fact, here, I'll put it in the chat again. There you go, Gary. Another shout out to your amazing video that I'm a big fan of, and I wish I did videos like that, but I just don't have the patience to do it. I just don't. Vagar saying I'm doing lots of product sessions and color checker is mandatory for me there. Right. The color checker only gets you so far, but what happens when your lights aren't all the same lights exposed in that color checker, you know? That's what we're battling here. Okay. Okay, no more wrestling talk. How would you photograph your favorite wrestler? We might find out. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm not talking about this stuff anymore, okay? I don't want to blow something for myself right now. Okay, so I just dropped a whole bunch of chills. So a while ago, I got a package here, and this was in the package. A bunch of foam. You want to talk about not being color accurate? I've always shoved some light through a piece of foam and see what happens here. You got options with this, right? We could either make this into basically a scrim or a panel that we blow light through, or we can use it as a background and we can make it in part of the shot. It's got, you know, the cool texture you'd think you'd get. But I think what people forget is if this becomes your background, it'll always be soft focus. And the texture's so small, you're probably not going to see that texture. But what you will see is the inconsistency in light, depending on how you light it, whether you light it from underneath or across, or if you just blast light through the center, which is probably your most even look. But I thought this would be pretty cool to shoot with. Maybe we can get into that. We got about a half hour left. I gotta keep it tight today. I gotta get out of here today, guys. I'm sorry. Other than that, you guys have any other questions before I get into something like this? I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm not kidding. I'm just gonna throw this up and see what we do with it, okay? Man, this just had a ton of dust on it, and it's all in my right eyeball. Good thing I shoot with my right eye, you know? Who needs the right eye? Who needs it? Yeah. Yes. Also, 60 of you. I got 20 likes. What's going on here? What is this? Don't you know how I feed my non-existent children with likes? What is this? What are we doing? All right, let me get this on a C-stand somehow. I know you're a rabbit hole, but when you buy a Seed 100, I know you're in the rabbit hole when you buy a Seed 100 to go with your 858. So if you guys don't know, the Seed 100 is actually a color meter. It's a high-end light meter, but it'll give you your color statics. The 858 is a really great light meter. I have one, Daniel has one, and it has a spot meter on. It'll tell you things like flash duration, it can meter high-speed sync, all that kind of stuff. All right. Okay, we do not call her that. If everybody in the chat would school Crosstalk TV, that we do not call our colleagues that word. All right. And also, let me know, do you guys want to stay with an earlier time frame? Because I'm even thinking of moving this to 11 a.m. instead of 12. That way we're in the middle. 10 a.m.'s rough. I came in here, nothing was set up. I'm still setting up while I'm talking to you. So if you want to do 11 a.m., let me know. Noon, if you guys are into noon, lunchtime, whatever, let me know. This stream has to stay low maintenance. If this starts becoming real work, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. We're not doing the same. We're on week 22. Do you believe we've done 22 of these? We're almost at 30 hours of streaming. Ask me anything for you guys. Man, this dust is killing me. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is set up this foam so that it's something, right? So we're gonna drape it basically. I think a professional could use an APS-C device. You spelled device wrong. But at the reality, it's not. At the reality, in an event. Okay, so you're basically asking if APS-C is necessary to use full frame lens in an event. The lens will do you. I'm not sure what you're asking. There's nothing wrong with shooting crop sensor. What you might find is that there's some crop sensor lines within brands that might not have a lot of lens choices because they tend to prioritize full frame, if that's what you're saying. Whatever lens will work on your camera, that will give you the focal length and look that you're after. What's the problem, right? If you put a full frame lens on a crop sensor, it's going to crop that focal length. That said, it's going to look a field of view that's tighter. It's not. People say it's like a zoom equivalency. I don't believe in that. It's a field of view. All right. High speed sync or ND filter. We did this a few weeks ago. People are saying there's banding and high speed sync, which is electronic shutter thing. What I will say is when I've encountered banding, and this might not be a fix for everybody in every situation, but what I've found is if I give my strobe a little more power, it mitigates a little more power during high speed sync. It mitigates the banding if there is banding. But I have in my experience, I can't speak for everyone because I don't know what anyone else is doing. But in my experience, shooting high speed sync with electronic shutter cameras, I have very rarely seen the banding show up. And if I did, it was at like 8,000th of a second, like really pushing it, right? And I guess maybe that's where I'm rarely seeing it. Usually at high speed sync situations, I'm talking about sunlight outside, I'm anywhere from 2 to 4,000. That got canceled, Chris. That got canceled. Yeah, he has personal thing. 2,000 to 4,000th of a second is where I've landed most of the time. Very rarely I'm at 8,000th of a second. So should use ND filter. ND filter is how we used to take care of it before high speed sync existed. What you're going to run into is if your ND filter is, say, I don't know, 4-stop ND filter, guess what you lose? 4 stops of power out of your light. So if you're pushing that light to its limit already for whatever weird reason, you're not going to find the power there. We did this high speed sync. If you look back, what, 3-4 weeks ago, guys? High speed sync is really meant for, 1, shallow depth of field, mean wide open aperture, right? You want to have a shallow look while using strobe, while including ambient light. High speed sync is not for freezing action. High speed sync will actually give you a longer flash duration. And that's when people start pushing the shutter speed to then compensate for the flash duration, to which you start running into a circle of problems like this. What you want to do is have the flash duration short and have the flash duration be what freezes your action, because the flash duration is its own shutter speed. I know I just went all over the place, but this is not an easy question. So long story short, if you're going to use an ND filter instead of high speed sync because you feel you're having banding issues, make sure your strobe can handle losing the stops of light that are going to be taken away from that ND filter. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stop ND filter. If you're using 10 stop ND filter, I don't know what you're doing, but except like maybe long exposures of like a running water in like a creek or something. I don't know. Does that make sense? So if you're going to use ND filter to mitigate banding issues that you're having while in high speed sync, you're going to just want to make sure you're shooting at a power of your strobe that can handle losing that many stops of light based on whatever that ND filter is. And the way you handle that could be from moving your strobe closer, taking modifiers off of it and going with a raw strobe, gaining stops wherever you can. But in reality, if you're shooting in a high speed sync situation, you should be shooting in a wide open aperture that you don't need a lot of power out of your strobe. Thus, you can have the power there, right? God damn, that was a lot. Whew. Okay. What are we doing? Okay. Got what we're doing. Man, I got like 20 minutes. Can we do something cool in 20 minutes? All right, if I don't get through this, we'll do it next week, okay, guys? I just wanted to do something today because I shot with Joe McNally yesterday all day, and he got me all jazzed up, man. It's crazy how Joe will get you feeling like you're 18 and you just want to go shoot cool stuff. Man, Joe is just a treasure. Such a treasure. Okay, so now we have basically a super dense diffuser. I don't know what this is going to look like. Let's see what happens when I put a modeling light through it and see what it just physically looks like. So this is... All right. I tell you what, let's shoot a raw strobe. Let's see what it looks like. I need a camera. I got a Z6 III with me today. Nice and lightweight, easy stuff. I'm not even going to tether lock it today. I'm just going to throw a cable in this thing. We'll see what happens. Everybody good? We all right? I know we just went through a lot of technical stuff really fast. So, and I don't want this stream to turn into a place that people that are just starting out or aren't technical feel like they can't be here. So if there's anything that just didn't connect for you, tell me, you know? All right. I don't even know what I have this. What did I leave this on? Sure. Okay. Okay. Oh, got a knot in my cable. We're going to tether into Capture One as always. Good old Capture One. My fave. I am a big Capture One fan, if you guys couldn't tell. And just so you guys know, if you guys buy a new camera at Adorama, there's usually a bundle giving you like a year or half off of Capture One. There's always something about Capture One and new cameras. So just don't just buy the camera. Take a look for the bundle with Capture One if you don't already have Capture One, okay? Am I on RAW? I have no idea where I left this camera because this is the camera I really mess around with. What's my white balance at? Okay. I need a remote. Where did I put the remote for the camera? Ah, cool. Everybody with me? You guys good? You guys good? Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me, Goose. All right. Let's go to Capture One really quick. What's the first thing we're going to do here, though, before I take any type of shot here? What's the first thing? Oh, look, we shot a Windex bottle last time. Oh, why does it keep doing this? Come on, man. There we go. We shot a Windex bottle with that mirror lens. Remember, I was using all that used gear from the bins that are over here. All right, let me just make sure. Okay. So I'm just gonna go straight to TTL. We're just gonna shoot right at the foam and see what it looks like because we don't even know what's going on. But before we do that, we're gonna shut off the strobe altogether. That is the modeling light, right? Looks like broken glass, which is kind of cool. If I turn off that modeling light, right, I should get a black frame. And we get a black frame. Okay. So now let's turn that strobe on. Let's see what we get with just TTL at it, just to give us some place to start. Okay, but that's with the background in focus, guys. Don't forget, we're going to be shooting something in front of it. We're going to be shooting Quinn in front of it. So this is what it's really going to look like. Right? That's my hand. And that's what the texture starts looking like, which is still kind of cool. It's crackly. And we can play games. You can take the, excuse me, you can take the power all the way down and make it more subtle, right? Something like that. That's the power all the way down. Let me just make sure. Of course it's not because that's the wrong group. Let me just put this in the right group. Hang on. Oh, God. Can you tell I wasn't ready for this today? All right, let's take the power all the way down. This is at 1. So this is 2 stops lower. Is that 1? Wait a second. Oh, you know what? My fault. This is at a power of 1. Okay. Way more subtle, but still kind of a cool background. Obviously, we'll put a front light in on here, but we're getting an idea of what this thing does. Now, if I really wanted to, I can see what quality of light I get out of this as a modifier by shooting the other way at my hand, all right? So I'm going to put it back into TTL. I'm going to look at my hand. And we're going to see what kind of light we get out of this. If it's diffused, if it's soft, what do we get? All right, so this looks like a hard wall of light. This does not look like it's diffusing at all, really. I mean, to some degree it is, but not majorly. In fact, let's pull Quinn in here really quick. Yeah, I know, I'm putting you to work today. Isn't that crazy? So now, with me shooting it, you know what? I tell you what, we'll shoot it from a little bit more of a 3/4 vibe, okay? So this is with no real background. We're just shooting Quinn to shoot with Quinn. I'm putting it on TTL, and what metering mode am I in? We're on evaluative metering, so whatever. We'll see what we get. Take a look. It's just a big wall of light, but it isn't too specular. It does have diffusion to it. If it wasn't diffused, we wouldn't be seeing much detail in her. But if I take her and I face her towards it, and this is a raw light. We didn't put anything on there. We could put a 3-foot octa on it and make it more even, but let's try it with just like a burst behind our face. No, I need you to face me. Come on, what is this? What is this? I know, it's been a minute. I know. This is on TTL. So that's a silhouette with a broken glass kind of feel behind it. We could gel that light, right? I got 20 gels sitting around here now. But let's lower that power down about 1.5 stops. And I'm doing that because the less power I put through it, the more detail I should see on that backlight, on that background. So you see how we go from this to this, and you can see more of what's going on back there, right? You get more detail out of it. Now all we got to do is throw a second light at her. And she's going to duck when I throw it. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody with me so far? Talk to me, kids. Talk to me. Let's throw, you know what? I have this Magnum here. So why don't we use this Magnum? This thing is beautiful, and it has a grid, which is key because what I want is the light not to spill past Quinn. I don't want to light the front of this. The second we light the front of this, that effect we're getting on the background starts going away. Okay? So, who used these lights? This is what happens when you have all these people you invite in here to do their own demos, and they're like, I use channel this, I use channel that. Well, good for you. In this house, we use my channel, all right? All right. Let's throw a sandbag on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a very dramatic, what we call tabletop. And tabletop means when you're setting a light and it goes over somebody or over a subject. Tabletop means literally flat tabletop. You are straight to the ground, basically. And when I do tabletop, I like to put it, the edge of the light in front of them. I don't do this. This is not what we do. I do edge of the light right cascading down them. Can Seth add a second light and be happy with the test shot in 13 minutes? I don't know. I wasn't really timing myself, but now you guys are putting all this pressure on me. And just so you know, I'm keeping that back modeling light on because I want to be able to see where that burst of light is in relation to Quinn. If I move and that light is off center, you don't get that gradation as clean. All right. So let's see what we can do here. So how do I set this second light? Well, I'm going to shut off that backlight and I'm going to TTL this light by itself. We're taking away variables one at a time, right? I don't want it to start ratioing the backlight to this light, and we're happy with where that backlight is, then we're leaving that backlight where it is. This is a white Magnum with a white grid on it, shooting a white matte painted subject. Sorry, girl. And we're shooting against a white foam. Technically, we can make this look monochrome when it's not monochrome. And let me tell you how much I love color photos that look monochrome. I think it's one of the coolest things. That's just me. Where's my camera? Okay, oh, let me set the light properly first. I am sorry if I'm rushing, guys. It's just, today is a crazy day. I couldn't explain it to you if I tried. Okay, so I'm looking at her and I'm just gonna get this light to break right down in front of her, okay? I don't want this light to spill here. I don't want to pitch it this way and have light go past her. I don't want this to be ungridded and spill light and get this. You do not want the front of this to be illuminated. And we're gonna see if it does that, because we're gonna shut off the back light, shoot with the front light, and see what the front light's even doing, right? So let's turn off that back light. This light, we're gonna TTL. Oh, what happened here? Did you move? Ugh, models, man. TTL this. Man, is that a beautiful light. God, this white Magnum is beautiful. It is touching that background a little bit. If this was my studio, I probably would just ask Quinn to take a step forward and I would move with her. I'm running out of space here because I didn't set this up in a better way, and I don't want to disturb it. But man, Profoto Nikon TTL, look at how accurate that is. A white subject that's showing you every single little detail in that paint. How accurate is that TTL? Beautiful, beautiful. And that is a clean light, man. Clean light. God damn, man. Oh, am I gonna buy one of these now? Profoto, you make me buy everything I use when you leave it here, and you're killing me. All right, let's see what happens when we mix these together. Let's see what happens. With focal length 75. Let's take a look. You know what? That's pretty cool. I'm into it. I'm into it. What I'm not into is that top right corner over here, and that is the foam folding over itself from the way I rigged it. And we can easily just take this and lift it up and get it out of the way. Let's try that again. This is looking pretty cool. Let's take a look. Interesting. Oh, I made a mistake. You see the shutter speed went to 2/50th of a second, not 200. That's past my flash sync. So I'm going to slow it back down to 200. And we should be more on point here. There we go. She's back. She's back. Tell you the truth, I almost want to take down that backlight a little bit. I think that's a lot of light coming through there. Why don't we take that down just a touch? It's the power, just so you know, is at 1.5. So there's like nothing going on in that light. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to have the power just be a half a stop. Half a stop. Let's take a look. I'm digging it, man. If you had a client that just wanted something clean, a little edgy, this is pretty nice, man. This is pretty nice. I'm into it. I don't even think I need to put a fill in there. If I did, the fill would have to not fly past Quinn and affect, actually. Here, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. You ready? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna move that back light closer to the foam to make it less spread. Okay, does that make sense? So we're gonna move this light closer in. I am about I'd say about 6-7 inches away from the foam in the back now. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we got. Yeah, see how it's like a tighter glow? And then what I might do is lower that light. Can I lower it? I'm gonna lower that light just a little bit so that the gradation goes behind her shoulders a little bit. Allie, I see your question. Just give me a second. We're dialing this in. We are in dial mode. And the modeling lights is really what helps you do this, because you're literally seeing where this light is going, right? And we're fine tuning everything, right? See that? So now we have a choice of A circle kind of burst, which I kind of like more, or gradation from the bottom. I kind of like the circle behind her more, but that's just me. I'm not sure what you mean by cones. I got some cones with a set of lights I bought. The difference between the cone reflector and the magnet reflector. I'm not sure what you mean by cone. Do you mean like a snoot? Is it like a tight? I'm not sure what you're saying to me here. Cone reflector and a magnum, because they look kind of the same. I've never even heard of a cone reflector. So if you can let me know what you mean by cone. But a magnum is a specific, really calibrated shape and finish of a reflector to give you more power, a certain beam angle, and a quality of light that comes out of it. The silver version of a magnum, a silver version is almost like trying to mimic the sun a little bit. It's such a hard light. Yeah. Also, don't forget the focal length of my lens is going to change the way this looks, right? So this is, I'm just going to put it back to where I had it, and we're going to shoot Quinn at the same focal length, right? So we've been shooting at like around 75 millimeters, right? So now we're back to having the circle grading behind her, which I like, right? Now let's say I shoot it at 120 millimeters. That circle gets bigger behind her, right? Because we're quote unquote compressing space, right? So we have less of a circle. If we want to make it more of a circle, we go wider, right? Wider with it. So we went from 75, we're going to 50, right? If we do that, watch what happens. That circle gets tighter and smaller, right? So your focal length and the distancing of your background is going to change all of this. If you're ever creating a shape on a background or anything, if your background is at all critical to the final image, meaning it's not just there, meaning it's not just looking decent, if there's a shape, if there's a texture, if there's some reason for it, the focal length of your lens is going to make a big difference. If you want to make that background crush up against your subject a little bit more, compressing the space and distance between them and the background, longer focal lengths. Wider focal lengths, push that background away in visually, right? Optically, right? Yeah, I'm shooting at 5000K. That's what I like to shoot at. I've always been a cold tone photographer. Like it's always been cold for me. Okay, so Ali's asking a standard reflector versus a magnum. So a magnum, let me take this off. I'll show you. Let me see if I have, yep, okay. These are two different finishes, but you'll get the idea, okay? So this is a magnum. This is a big reflector, okay? This is a standard zoom reflector. This can literally fit inside this. You will get a tighter beam angle, meaning how much it spreads, versus this. This also has a way of magnifying your light a little bit. When I say magnifying, intensify, right? It's not like something that'll focus your light, but it will give you more of an intensity to it. This is going to limit your beam angle down instead of spreading everywhere. This limits that beam angle. With ProPhoto, you can zoom your light. You can zoom your light, and then what that basically does is it changes your beam angle. If you look over here, you can actually see this diagram. Can you see? Let me put my phone on this so that we can see some sort of light here, because I'm like literally under. Can you see that diagram? It's like the worst way to do this, but yeah, that should do it. I'm trying not to get a shine on it. That's kind of good. There we go. So that's really what you're doing is beam angle here. Okay. A magnum reflector is this really specific look, and it's beautiful when done right. Sometimes people throw a magnum at something and it is like an assault of light. And you're like, what are you doing? The white magnum takes down that specularity a little bit, takes down the contrast a little bit, but still gives you that punch, that hard hit, you know? Cool. So we shot with the foam, guys. Let's put a gel on that backlight as a last shot and see what we get. What color do we want to go for the backlight? What color do we want to make this foam? Hey, Deborah, how are you? Let me throw the grid back on this thing. Come on. Come on. There we go. Where's my grid? What color gel do we want to put on this foam, guys? Come on. What am I doing this shot for me? Come on. Come on. Come on, guys. Keith is saying green. Let's do green. What kind of green do I got? I want like a mossy green if I have it. That would be awesome. Yes. Okay. We have a mossy green. This is a very dense green. This is so dense. So dense. So dense. We're going to lose light on that foam if we don't raise the power. Let's not raise the power. Maybe we'll like it a little bit toned down. So let's throw this green on there. No. Heath already beat you all to it. Yeah, no problem. Allie, that's what this stream is for. If you're having some kind of weird issue and you just need to ask somebody, and if I can help you out, then that's what we're doing. We are here to figure it out together. So here's the other thing is I've got to tape this gel down pretty tight to the light because if I don't, it'll change the shape of the projected light to the foam. So if I just did this, right? If I just did this over the light, you're going to get a bar, right? So what we want to do is we want to tape it down tighter to the light, okay? So I'm going to throw an extra piece of tape on it today. Is that spot on the background from the front or behind? I can't see the light. Oh, well, that's your fault, Brad. I don't know what to tell you. The rest of us have been here, okay, my friend? The light's behind the foam, buddy. So my philosophy is if I'm shooting with a translucent background, use the translucent. Otherwise, what are we doing, right? The whole cool thing is that the background's translucent. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we're going to lose light because of that green gel is pretty dense. Let's take a look at it just straight up without changing anything, right? We might just like it. Who knows? Who knows? Actually, I don't hate it. The green, maybe not the green. If she was wearing something to tie it together, maybe. But I do think overall, the monochrome feel where we had it was like dope. Now that we just messed around, let's play a game. Let's nucleify the background. Let's go nuclear on this foam. Let's go. Just so you have an idea of how crazy this is going to be. The power of that light is at half a stop. I mean, it is like nothing coming out of that backlight. I'm going to put it up to full power. I am going to have a tan after this photo. My eyebrows will be gone. My retina's shot. But let's see what happens here. I'm just curious. And I'm even going to shut off that front light because I just want to see how ridiculous this backlight's going to get. Let's shut off the front light. Only the backlight at full power. Let's see what we get. What? That's cool, man. It's very awkward and weird. There's nothing about this that is technically correct. But this guy right here, this guy does not care because it looks cool. And this is when you get to really have fun when it's like, I don't know what's going on here, but I think it looks cool. Let's just roll with it. Let's throw in that front light and see if we can just neutralize a little bit of her face though. And then we can play some ratio games here. Let's take a look. All right. You know what? Not hating it. I don't like that the background isn't equal, like even. I don't like that. It's a little weird. And that's because the light, I touched the light and it pitched a little over to the side. Let's try it straight on again. Let's try it straight on. Take a look. Okay. I am a big fan of stuff like this, where it's so overexposed in the background by a colored light or a different temperature light that we're getting white, but as it dies off, inverse square on our subject, we start getting the green. So this is still green, but we're blowing through that gel hardcore. We're just burning through it, right? Now, as the light dies off, it gets denser and denser, right? Remember, the lower the power, the more saturated the gel. Well, it's dying down. The exposure is dying down, and we're getting more and more of that green. I'm kind of feeling this. I'm going to back up that light a little bit so that it's just a straight up white from corner to corner, right? We're going to back this up. We're going to double the distance, okay? Try to spread that light a little bit. Let's see if I can make that background. Oh, and since I moved it farther away, we should get a denser green on her, and we should get more of an even background overall. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if Seth is right. And there's another thing going on here that I'm going to explain in 2 seconds. Okay, so there you go. All white, green getting denser, right? It looks like it's way dense, more dense. Look at the difference in the density of the green, right? Very cool. So now the green looks cool to me. Before, this, boring. Now, awesome. And don't forget, without that front light, it looks like that. So no front light, she's basically a chroma green. With the front light, we neutralize it, we elevate this. And the other thing that you guys probably don't realize that's happening right now is because we're using the Magnum, because it's tabletop going down, because it's not a big diffuser panel, the real crazy thing that's happening here is this green light is not reflecting off of our key light and corrupting our neutral light. It's reflecting a little bit off of the world, because if it wasn't, this one in the middle, she would be a silhouette. But we see her because it's bouncing off of something. But our key light is not what it's bouncing off of, giving us more of a shot to neutralize her in the middle. Pretty cool. And we can play games with this even further, right? Let's say we take down that backlight by 2 stops. Let's try to make it a little more saturated on her. So if I take out power from the light, we should still get a white background. Are you guys with me? No one's in this chat. What's going on here? We should get, oh, did gel just fall? I just heard it. Nope, we're all right. Nah, yeah, it did. So if I lower the power of the light, what we should get is more density green on her, but still be able to keep that white behind her white. Let's see if this is what's going to happen. All bets are off, kids. Yeah. So we did lose the corner, and I could mitigate that by pulling the light back maybe a little bit. But overall, we took down the bounce of the green around the world, right? So the green that's bouncing off of everything in here is gone because she's neutral on her face compared to here that definitely has a green going on. You guys with me? What is this? Is nobody in this chat? Is this chat not refreshing? Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening over here? So, yeah. And this is just with a piece of foam and 2 lights. And these lights are really, really low in power. The backlight is at 8 now. So 500, 250. I'm at 125 watt seconds back there. If you have a 100 watt second light, you could do that look. Also, I could open up. If I needed more light to come through, I could open up. I'm at f8. If you're shooting at f4, if you're shooting at 5, 6, you could do this with lower powered lights. These are 500 watt second lights, but if you had, say, let's say you had speed lights or something like that, you could open up to f4 and make this happen. You'd want to be more of a controlled environment, less ambient light, but you could do it. You could totally do it. I'm into it. This was kind of fun. This, though I will say, nice and clean. pretty good too. I kind of like the clean. But we're just playing games here, right? And we just did that final shot basically off of what we learned earlier, which was gels don't stay as saturated when you're burning power through them. If you're pumping light through a gel, the more power you pump, the less color you're going to get out of that gel. And that's what's happening in that background, going white because it's just pure light ripping through that gel. As the light dies off, as it goes underexposed, the more and more it underexposes, the more it turns into green. And that's the light dying off as it's leaving that foam, going a little bit of distance, raking across Quinn's face. We're getting that green. And I did this. Let me see if I have it. Where's my phone? And I did this for a magazine cover, but with blue on a white porcelain statue. Let me see if I can find this. Yep. Let me see. This is something I shot, got to be 12 years ago. Nah, not 12 years ago. When was this? This should be, 2017 I shot this. So you can see that it is all, this is this big, by the way. This is how big it is. You can see how it gets blue on white plexi, and the blue just starts picking up on the face as it dies off from the light. So it's not just white on white with more white. The cool tone isn't a color, it just gives it a little bit of a difference from the all white that was in that space. So this is a practical technique you can use with like a big softbox, or if you want to shrink it down, you could do a tabletop something this big with smaller softboxes. You could totally do this. How's everybody doing? We all right? All right. If you're watching this back on playback, type in the word French toast to let me know you watched this back till the end in the comments. We did waffles and pancakes already, so why not do French toast? I've done demos mixing gels together. It's just after so many years of doing this, you're kind of like, that demo's out there somewhere. And we always use gels. We always mix gels. Come on, guys. But if you want to do a whole demo on gels, I mean, we could do it. But I just think that there's like a million demos on gels. I find the advantage of this stream is that we kind of go haywire and we try to use actual logic and what we know to get to a result based on educated decisions, you know? Okay. Guys, don't forget to hit subscribe here. I want to get this channel to 100K. And we can do it. If we got to a gold play button on the main channel, we can get to a silver one on this channel. Don't act like we can't. Don't forget, tomorrow, Deborah Gilbert will be here. She's going to be doing how to start a photography co-op, which is basically how to network and how to get your work shown in a gallery. So if you're looking at the fine art route of things and not the commercial, you might want to tune in tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern on this channel. What else? August 21st, if you're in New York, hands-on wedding workshop, I think there's 5 sets in a business course. So you guys are going to be able to shoot all day, and you're going to get a lecture and talk through about proper business protocol from Vanessa Joy. You know, she knows what she's talking about, right? That's on the Eventbrite. You have to sign up for that. I think it's even like a paid thing, but it's all day, 5 curated sets that you get to shoot. I think they even feed you, you know, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. I met you overshooting with a backlighting a gel. Oh yeah, you were shooting some like bat creature thing at Shutterfest, I think it was, and we just kind of Frankensteined everybody's gear together to get you a shot, right? Okay. Let me see. I don't know what else I got. I kind of really rushed this one. Listen, guys, I really appreciate you guys joining me here. Let me know if you like the earlier times. I'm thinking about doing 11 a.m. So 10 seems a bit rough for me to set up. 12 seems like, I don't know if that's going anywhere for you guys, but I'm thinking about 11 a.m. Let me know if you want to change the time. I kind of want to stay out of the later in the day because we have plenty of stuff from later in the day. I'm trying to catch people that can't get to the live streams late in the day, you know? And I guess that's kind of it, huh? I don't know. I never know how to dismount here. Okay. Oh, don't forget, if you missed this last week, what a stacked roster. Drew Gurian did an amazing demo. Bob Davis, Johnny Edward, Gary Hughes was here. You know, Chloe Ramirez was here. Ab Cisse did a demo a few weeks ago. Like, there's so many demos you guys probably haven't checked out, and we're mixing together demos you might have missed live and putting them out as just normal videos in that algorithm of edited videos. And they'll be like 2 to 3 hours long of a mixtape that you can just play while you're editing. Maybe you pick up some things you missed, or you just needed a quick playback. You can go get the playback. But hopefully this channel's working out for you guys. We're trying really hard for you. I know I'm killing myself trying to make this channel kind of catch some speed. So do me a favor, tell somebody about it, hit subscribe, and don't forget the Discord, adorama.com/Discord. Join that, share some work, ask questions, all sorts of stuff. 24/7, the Discord is there. Adorama.com/Discord. Go to the rules section, hit OK, it'll unlock the rest of their chats for you, all right? Other than that, make sure you swing by the store. The bins that are here are constantly getting random replenishment of random things and random amounts, then it's all $3. So limit 5 things per customer, but cameras, motor drives, lenses, weird odd and ends, accessories you didn't know existed, things you might want to try out, film stuff, you know. So yeah, all right. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get going. I will see you tomorrow with Deborah. And oh, Daniel did a really, really good demo, by the way, Thursday. His final lighting setup, don't tell him this, but Dan did a really good job. Oh, God. Oh, like hurts me. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Be good to each other. And please, if you're new here, hit subscribe, hit like, and I will see you next Monday. Let me know in those comments if there's something you want me to cover, because I never have a topic, and I'm basically farming you guys for topics. All right, guys. Be good to each other. Stay up on my Instagram stories if you want to find out what I'm getting into later. It should be pretty exciting, but I got to get out of here, guys, for now. Later. Be good to each other.